we found that in US also around 100 gigawatts of solar has already been installed in 2022. Now, henceforth, in India there is so another thing what we are talking about solar and renewable energy is going into net zero. So what the corporates and the government say that we want to be net zero during a particular year. What does that mean is that whatever power we are going to consume, that power will be consumed only through renewable energy and not through fossil fuel, not through the thermal plants which burn gas and oil. So this net zero concept has come, and the India has decided, like say by 2070, it will be a net zero country, and by 2030, it will be a 50% of renewable energy. Yes.
So so I get my head around.
I would love to have
like
questions.
100 gigawatts, right? How many homes does that translate to about?
100 gigawatts will translate a kind of a home, around 1 million.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, India is so much populated, and like every home will have power, and we plan to have renewable energy. Like not all the power plants are getting closed, or other all these power plant companies which were into thermal power, they are getting into business of going into solar or wind. Wind also is equally penetrated as a renewable energy. However, the main disadvantage about wind energy is that you require wind at a particular location to run the windmill. But as far as the solar is concerned, wherever there is sunlight, you can generate power. So, so then there is one organization which is meeting every year called Conference of Parties, like COP. So this is a conference of parties which works every year on renewable energy, and in 2015 this was conducted in Paris, and one agreement was signed by 196 countries to work on renewable energy and ensure that we limit this temperature rise of 1.5 degrees by 2100. So the time span is like in next say 80 years we want to work on renewable energy, so that by 2100 we do not cross the global warming to a limit where it is not going to be reversible. So now every country has decided in some way to install solar, and India has also concepted one organization called International Solar Agency. Now this International Solar Alliance has got 190 countries. More of them are on the tropical areas of our globe, and there is a plan to put solar in all these countries in such a way that the transmission can be done from a location where there is sunlight. For example, when there is sunlight in India, there is no sunlight in US, and vice versa. So the way that the transmission lines are installed in such a way that we can transmit power from the place where there is sun to the place where there is no sun, and in such a way, one of the major disadvantages, like everybody would say, that you cannot produce solar during night, so you require sunlight to produce. So to mitigate this challenge, the plan has been developed so that the power can be transmitted from the place where there is sun to the place where there is no sun, and consequently we will use only renewable energy.
I have a question.
Please.
Two parts. One, are there efforts being made to concentrate the panels so they can collect more sunshine and in a smaller, more portable way? And two, we have a lot of panels all over our parking lots and all over schools.
Yes.
They're big and cumbersome, and so what are the efforts? What are we going to do when we need to recycle those large panels, and what do we do with those extra panels when they're no longer working.
Right. So now solar panels, technically and financially, the life of a solar panel is 25 years. However, even after 25 years, they are going to work at a say 70% or 50% efficiency. So part one is that the panels are never going to die. Second thing is, as far as the recycling is concerned, it is made of metal, glass, and silicon wafers. Now all the three parts can be segregated, and there are in India there are also certain research agencies who are working on recycling of these panels. So maybe not even 25 years. Like how I work as a businessman is, I believe that in 10 years I would exchange the panels. Like I will take away the old panels and give new panels which are of double efficiency, because every year the efficiency of panel increases. So this fundamental idea I was using when 30 years back I was in manufacturing and selling personal computers. So every year there would be a new chip and a new hard disk. So what I would do is I will tell customers that I am going to pick up your old thing and put your new thing with a very differential cost. So that would be a win-win situation for the customer as well as the business vendor. So the same kind of thing would be happening in solar, and all parts are recyclable. There is nothing which is not recyclable. However,
That's good to know.
like I also look from different angles. For example, I consider that to produce a solar panel, also there is a power consumption which is substantial. So similarly on recycling also there will be power consumption which might emit carbon emissions, to an extent. So best way is to ensure that there are no power productions which is done through fossil fuel, which is it will very practically it's going to happen in another 10 to 15 years. And there is tremendous scope of renewable energy as far as solar is concerned, wind is concerned. In India, we are also working a lot on green hydrogen, which is going to be a substantial source of fuel for vehicles, apart from electrical vehicles. So a lot of things are happening and work is being done. The aim is not only to promote solar or generate power through solar, which is of course cheaper than the power which is produced through fossil fuel, but the major idea or major effort is being put to reduce the global warming or ensure that now no more addition to the global warming. So this is how we work on.
Question.
Yes.
So one of the things I've been reading about the challenges of adopting clean energy is the grid. When the grid isn't ready to handle all these inputs, can you comment on that, what's being done?
What I am listening from you is that there has to be a lot of involvement of grid when we go into generation of
Yes.
solar power or any renewable energy. Now, the grid or the companies which are power producing companies or power transmission companies, they have to go hand in hand with the power producers which are into renewable energy. For example, in India, every power producing company and every power transmission company, they have to, like India is having policies by which this power production companies and transmission companies have to work hand in hand with proper financial working. For example, if we are using the infrastructure of these power companies, they will definitely be compensated. So it is a win-win situation. For example, I produce my power, but I use your grid for a while to transmit power from my solar farm to my industry. So I'm using the transmission line. So the rates are being fixed for using that transmission line for number of units. Every 3 years, these rates are revised. And most of the time, these rates are getting reduced because once the investment is used, the cost goes down. So it becomes a win-win situation where the power producing, power transmission companies go along with the power producers which are into renewable energy. I hope I have answered your question.
Yeah.
Yeah. So So I would like to share with you about how India is working on solar. So till say last year or even this year, majority of solar panels and the not rather panels but the raw material for solar panels were imported. So we were very much dependent on imports. Like almost 70% were being imported. So last year the government has decided to invest in huge plants and manufacture solar wafers and panels and cells, everything in India. And in next 3 years, India will be not only be self-sufficient as far as the panels are concerned and other things are concerned, but from 2028, India will export the solar panels and various things to various countries which are in Africa and eastern side of Asia. You know. So India is aggressively working on manufacturing solar panels and solar cells and wafers and becoming independent as far as the materials are concerned. Then whole of India is getting connected with transmission lines so that the power can be transmitted from one place to another. There is also one right now there is this meetings happening of G20. So in G20 it has been agreed to put a transmission line from India through UAE to Europe. So there is going to be a huge transmission line connecting Europe, Middle East and India. And like there will be sharing of producing power mainly in India and transmitting it to European countries at much cheaper cost.